TheSmartLocal.com.
So do you think in general, right, Singaporeans want to have kids?
I'm doubt, especially if you see a lot of people having pets.
Nowadays, I would say yes, actually.
Maybe it's a yes, no.
I think the heart is willing, but the financial is cannot.
Hi guys, welcome to Hot Take. In 2023, the Singapore birth rate dropped to 0.97 and this is an all-time historic low. So today, I'm here to find out if Singaporeans want to have kids. Let's go!
How old are you and do you have kids?
I'm 27, 28 this year. Do I have kids? No, I don't, not yet.
Okay, do you plan to have kids?
I would like to sometime in the future, but I guess career is kind of the priority right now at this point in time. So kids suddenly became pushed back to like maybe mid-30s.
So when you say like being pushed back, is there any reason?
I think two things. One, I haven't found the right person yet to have the kids with. And then second one is I'm choosing to focus on my career first.
So do you think there are any concerns when it comes to having a kid?
Yes, you're responsible for a whole new life. Like the moment the kid comes in, your life is not your own anymore. Yeah, but I guess that's the fun and good thing about it. Also, financial concerns, I guess, another thing.
Do you think it's expensive to raise a kid in Singapore?
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Then do you think if, let's say, it's not in Singapore, in other countries, would that like change your answer?
Wow, that's also something that I do ask myself. But I always kind of fall back to realizing that I think regardless, I still want my kids to grow up in Singapore. Education-wise, lifestyle, I feel like the safety that Singapore offers is something that's still very good for a family structure.
And what do you think are the joys of having kids?
Laughter, sunshine. As I grow older and I reflect like with my own parents on how my mom felt raising me, you really go through the process of bringing this life up that eventually does become a friend.
How old are you and do you have kids?
I'm 33 years this year. I have one kid. She's 16 months right now.
In general, do you think Singaporeans want to have kids?
I think in general, Singaporeans are like on the fence of having kids because of inflation. There's a huge cost that we have to put out when we have a child. So I think having a child, you need to be financially stable to be prepared.
At what age do you think it's good to have kids?
Well, I think now 30-something would be a good age where you are more stable in your career. I think that's a good age to actually think about having kids.
So for yourself, since you have kids, do you think there's any joy when it comes to having children?
Definitely, there is times where you feel tired, but you also feel the joy when you see your child smile at you and laugh at you. So definitely there is joy.
If let's say like you have someone around you who says that, oh, I don't want to have kids, will you like give any advice or do you think that's up to the person's choice?
Yeah, I think to me I won't try to sway the person's choice because I'm sure they have their reasons why they want to have kids. And it's a big decision that one is making when they want to start a family. So I won't step in.
How old are you and do you have kids?
I'm 75 and I have 3 children.
So in your opinion, do you think Singaporeans nowadays want to have kids?
Generally, the percentage is definitely below 50%. I can only guesstimate that figure. The cost of living is high.
So besides the financial side of things, do you think there are any other challenges or concerns?
Yeah, definitely, because the working hours are longer and they work from home. It's not conducive to have home working and to have a family. You can't have the peace.
And in your opinion, are there any joy when it comes to having kids?
It varies. Of course, there's a lot of joy, and you see them grow up. If you want children, then you have to bear with it. You can't have the best of the world. You got to sacrifice.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
Yeah, 37, 2 kids.
2 kids. How are they?
10 and 6.
So in general, do you think Singaporeans want to have a kid?
Living expenses quite high, so a lot of friends of mine are choosing not to have. But of course, there's a portion of them, they still love kids. Yeah. So I think it's like a 50-50.
So if given a choice, at what age do you think it's good to have a kid?
As early as possible for me, because I think the whole goal is when I get older, maybe when I hit 40 plus, my kid is already 20-ish. So they can be self-sustainable.
Any joys when it comes to having a kid?
Well, definitely, there's a lot of joy in having a kid, I feel. What I remembered most is all their, when they're little. Generally, I love kids lah. Yeah, so they are very precious to me, so definitely it's a joy.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
I am 28 now, and no, I don't have kids.
Okay. Do you plan to have kids in the future?
I think eventually, but depends on a lot of things.
Are you able to tell me what are the things that you will be thinking of as well?
I think firstly, it will depend on my partner. I would want like a reliable, committed partner, and like probably marriage before I would consider having kids.
So in your opinion, do you think Singaporeans want to have kids in general?
I think they do, most do, but there are also like a lot of other worries that they have. Also, I think nowadays a lot of people are worried about whether they can be good parents, like parenting skills, like not passing on trauma to the kids.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
Yeah, I'm 37 this year, so I have a boy who is 3 years this year.
So in general, do you think Singaporeans want to have kids?
Maybe it's a yes, no, but for me, at least must have one to complete a family.
So like people around you, do you always hear them telling you like, oh, I don't want to have kids in the future, or this kind of comments?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, so mostly everybody will have maybe like minimum one, if not maximum two.
Let's say if given a choice, at what age do you think it's good to have a kid?
I think it will be earlier as possible for me. Yeah, maybe at the age of 31, 32 is good. So at least you have the energy to play with the kids.
And are there any concerns when it comes to raising a kid?
Raising a kid will be more of like expenses wise. Yeah, but for now, because it's like everything is expensive in Singapore, so education wise and also maybe the enrichment wise, because as young as maybe a few months, we start sending them to enrichment.
And any joy when it comes to raising a kid?
Yeah, definitely. Even though they are very mischievous at times, but then when they do things that it will actually melt your heart.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
I'm 36 this year. No, I don't have a kid.
Okay. Do you plan to have a kid?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay. And if you plan to have a kid, how many kids do you want to have?
Preferably two.
In your opinion, do you think Singaporeans want to have a kid nowadays?
Nowadays, I would say yes actually. Just that I think that due to the cost of living, I think possibly that is what hinders them about thinking of doing so.
And when it comes to having kids, do you think there are any joy about it?
Yes, for sure. I think that's why our previous generation are probably 5 to 6 kids at a time. So for sure, they bring a lot of joy to you.
So if given a choice, at what age do you think would be good to have a kid?
Given a choice, okay, we probably would have gotten a kid at 31, 32. But, well, I'm 3 years past.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
I'm 30 this year, and then for now I don't have any kid.
Do you plan to have kids in the future?
Yes, I think maximum 2.
Maximum 2, okay. Yeah. Any reason that there's a cap to your number of kids?
I think the money part will be quite a big concern for us, so maybe 2 will be a good number so that at least the kid is not like alone.
In general, do you think Singaporeans want to have a kid?
Personally, I'm Malaysian but I have been here for working for quite a few years already. So I guess comparing to my friend around me, I think they don't really want. I think the financial part is still a big part that they are quite worried of having kids.
So besides maybe the financial side, do you think there are any other concerns when it comes to raising a kid?
I guess that's the main one, but of course the family kind of thing, the teaching and everything definitely I will be worried as well, do I actually teach them well, etc. Yeah, but I think still the main thing will be the financial.
So if I were to compare Singapore and Malaysia, which country do you think it's better to raise a kid, in terms of expenses?
Expenses wise, I think Malaysia would be better, but then in terms of education, quality of education, I would definitely say that Singapore would be better. Yeah, and definitely if growing up in Malaysia, they grow up with a terrace house and whatnot. They have their own space, etc. to run around, to move around and everything, and bigger place as well for them to visit and etc. So yeah, I think pros and cons.
If given a choice, what do you think would be a good age to have a kid?
If it's, let's say, financially stable, I think around before 35, 30 to 35, yeah. But in terms of us ladies, it will be before 30 will be the best.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
I'm 39 this year. I have one boy, he's 8.
In general, do you think Singaporeans want to have kids nowadays?
Compared to last time, I think now not many youngsters, they want kids now. I think because of financially, and I think work stress also. So I think not many.
So when it comes to yourself, are there any concerns to raising a kid?
Oh yes, family support, and because I'm a single mom, so work for me is quite hectic, and I have I'm a freelancer, so my work is not stable. I need like family support.
And what are the joy when to having kids?
Oh, of course, when you have a lot of stress at work, the moment you reach home, you see their smile. That's the biggest joy.
How old are you and do you have a kid?
Very rude, no? Ask old people this kind of question. I'm old enough to be a mother. Actually, my age is public.
You can Google one, right?
Please Google yourself. Don't make me say it.
Do you have a kid?
I have many kids, but not mine. People's kid. Then they call me mommy.
So do you ever consider having kids yourself?
I think between 29 to 32 lah. You know, like women have this biological clock.
So do you think in general, right, Singaporeans want to have kids nowadays?
I think the heart is willing, but the financial is cannot lah. I think a lot of Singaporeans want to have kids, but because of career, because work very stressed, and then like they want to have freedom.
And do you think there's any joy when it comes to having children?
Oh, I think children are very joyful. I used to teach in Sunday school, so I love kids. It's very fun. But having your own kids is another story lah.
Based on today, we received mixed responses of whether Singaporeans want to have kids or not. However, financial burden is the major concern. Ultimately, it's up to you whether you want to have a kid or not. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and ring the notification bell. Watch our other videos over here. Bye!